Yay. All right. Welcome to Character Strong's webinar today on mindfulness. We're so excited that you're here. As you are joining us, you can see over in the comments, the chat is private, but please go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us where you are from.
Am I supposed to hear you?
Yeah, can you hear me? Erica, can you hear me? Oh, now we have technology issues again. All right, I'm introducing, so I'm going to figure out why Erica cannot hear me right now. As you're coming in, can you let me know if you can hear me? Because that's strange. So we have Erica Saunders with us today, and I'm hoping, I know. I don't know why you can't hear me. So hold on one second. We're going to figure it out behind the scenes. I'm going to see if I can. So if everybody here can be just a little bit patient with us. People on the webinar can hear us, so it's going to be interesting to have a conversation with Erica here without her being able to hear me, but we're going to make this work. Erica Saunders has, I'm going to introduce her to you guys, and then we're going to, while we figure out the sound. But she's been a counselor for over 20 years with experience with youth and families, supporting the pursuit of health and happiness through self-awareness, connections to others, and integration of the mind and body. Okay. And I had the honor, she's going to get her phone, I've been calling her. I've had the honor of
it's on.
Working with, can you hear me on your phone?
She was texting me. She's like,
oh.
You are satisfied with your message.
What to do?
Anyway, I'm going to call her and put her on speakerphone down here. Since you guys can all hear her, that's going to be okay, and then it'll work down here. This is how we work together here. As everybody has been having technical issues, I am sure.
We were just talking.
I know. And now I can't hear her at all. Okay, so sorry. So hey, so I'm gonna put you, I don't know what you just turned off, but turn your microphone back on. There you go. I can hear you. So I'm gonna put you on speaker down here, but I can hear you through the computer. So can you put your phone maybe on speaker just so you can hear me? And then we're just gonna get you going.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, because that's really weird, but we can hear you perfectly through the webinar. So I'm going to let you talk, and I'll mute you on my phone.
Okay.
All right. Erica, I'm going to let you take over.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Erica, mute your phone.
Well, thank you all for being here. This is a pretty crazy time in our lives, and you all have a very difficult job to not only figure out how to, I lost you, Krista, teach all of your students remotely, but also first really tend to their emotional needs, even in the midst of trying to teach them information. So really, we know there's a lot of research that, shows that we can't really access that part of our brain when we're dealing with a lot of anxiety about our situation. So hopefully this webinar will be helpful with some tools. I think I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yay! Okay,
Yay!
We're on. Let's go.
All right. So Yes, so I will be teaching you some tools to take with you in your virtual classrooms and working with kids on just first really kind of getting into a place of calming their minds and bodies so that they're able to learn. All right. So mindfulness is a word that we hear a lot, and it can be intimidating, thinking that we have to master it ourselves first in order to teach it. But the reality is that although there can be a lot to it, there's a lot more about mindfulness, which is just about simply being in our skin and taking a moment to notice how we're feeling. So we can all use some intentional time right now to disconnect from our devices and turn off the minute-by-minute news and just check in with ourselves to see how we're doing. So when we're stressed, anxious, depressed, or operating from a fight or flight response, we are unable to access the higher level decision-making part of our brain, the part needed for academic learning. And we're feeling that too, we're all feeling that to a degree right now, but it's also important to understand that our students, many of them are experiencing this on a regular basis. Childhood trauma leaves people in a perpetual state of higher cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone associated with the fight or flight. And when we're in this state, we're using the amygdala, which is our primal part of our brain, and that focuses on our survival. And when this part of our brain is activated, we are much less able to access the executive functioning part of our brain, and this is where the learning happens. So looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we can see that our foundational needs of food, water, warmth, rest, shelter, feelings of safety, and connections with others must first be obtained to then move into the realm of esteem, and that is associated with accomplishment. And this is where we incorporate new information into our understanding of ourselves in our world. So how does mindfulness help meet these basic needs? Well, it comes down to mind-body integration and using the mind to slow the body and the body to slow the mind. And we're now going to just learn some really basic techniques to do this. The first is just noticing our state of being, and that's just becoming mindful. And then we'll learn to manipulate this state physically, creating and releasing tension, and then using our breath to activate our parasympathetic nervous system.
So Erica, as you go into this, I just want to help people know that one, you are going to get the slides and this recording later. And we are going to go through the process of doing these mindfulness activities. And so if you're sitting someplace that you can kind of have your feet calmly on the ground or that you're in a comfortable spot, it's perfect. But practicing it will really help you do these with your students later. And so take a moment, we'll give you a moment to kind of get into a place where you can do it along with us. And we are going to do it.
Okay. So yes, you can sit in a chair, you can sit on the ground, you can lay down. Luckily, you're all in a place where you probably have the option to do that. So go ahead and find a place where you feel comfortable. And wherever you are, you want to just elongate your torso, create space for your lungs. So sit up nice and tall or lay down on the ground nice and long. And take a deep breath in. Close your eyes or gaze down and exhale your breath. Just begin to arrive in your space. Now turn your attention to your thoughts and just notice. Is your mind racing or do you feel focused and calm? There's no right or wrong, just notice. Begin to arrive with your thoughts and just sit with them for a few moments. Now begin to notice the sounds in the room, the light filtering through your lids. Begin to notice the air and its temperature on your skin, how your clothing feels against your body. Now bring your attention to your breath and just notice it moving in and out of your lungs. No need to change anything. Just let your breath move in and out. Now move your attention to your body. Do you feel relaxed or is there tension? Move from the tip of your head over your face, down your neck and shoulders, down your back to your pelvis, moving down each thigh, over your calves, to your feet, and then toes. Now slowly open your eyes and notice how you feel. So, as you can see, it can be very simple to just get into a state of being mindful in the present moment. The point of this activity is just to become aware of our thoughts and the physical sensations of our body. The goal isn't to change or to relax, but instead just to notice. Next, we're going to do progressive.
That was so nice. Yeah, I bet you, I don't know about, well, I do, I can imagine, because we've been in connection with so many educators. You and I both, Erica, are so connected. And it's been so hectic. And I'm sad to say, I think that that's the first time in a couple of weeks that I have genuinely paused to relax. So thank you.
Oh, good.
Can't be the only one out there that's true for. So. And yeah, we'll send a narrative for the activities to read to students. That was a question I just got asked. So we'll make sure you get everything.
And yes, you can absolutely have that. But what I think is more important to realize is there really doesn't need to be a script, that you can just create the space and the opportunity with kids in your virtual classroom just to get them to just sit for a minute, disconnect, and just notice how they're doing. So, but again, yes, I'm very happy to share what I have with you. So this next exercise is progressive muscle relaxation. We're going to manipulate our body a little bit. So again, find a comfortable position and stretch your torso long. Take a deep breath in. Close your eyes or gaze down and exhale your breath. Begin to arrive in your space and return to a place of awareness, noticing how you feel. We will move through our body, creating tension and then letting it go. When you engage your muscles, inhale. When you release, release your breath as well. First, bring your awareness to your toes. Squeeze your toes, inhale, hold for a count of 5, and then relax, exhaling your breath. Move your attention to your calves. Flex your feet in, pointing your toes up towards your head. Inhale, hold for 5, and then relax and exhale. Move to your thighs and engage these muscles. Inhaling. Hold for 5. Then relax and exhale. Engage your glutes. Inhale. Hold for 5. And then relax and exhale. Move your focus to your back. Pull your shoulders down away from your ears as you inhale. Hold for 5. And then relax and exhale. Now squeeze your shoulders up towards your ears, breathing in. Hold for 5. Then relax, breathing out. Engage your muscles in your arms. Breathing in, holding for 5, releasing, and exhale. Squeeze your hands into balls as you inhale. Hold for 5, then relax and exhale. Tighten all the muscles in your face as you inhale. Hold for 5, and then relax, exhaling your breath. Just take a moment to notice how you feel. So really these are kind of just the simple outline of how to move through this exercise. Again, make it yours. There's nothing you can do wrong. It's very simple. Your kids are going to appreciate any kind of opportunity they have to do this. I think I found a lot of success with it with kids. And the point is just to, that's not it. Here it is. By tensing and relaxing the muscle groups in our body, we can induce the tension and then feel the alternative state of relaxation. Notice what it feels like when your body is relaxed. When you become more aware of tension and then learn how to let go of it, you can induce a relaxed state, lowering your heart rate and calming the mind.
So we have one question I'm going to throw at you, Erica, so we could just think about some of these things. It says, do you have a suggestion on how to help students relax enough to participate in the mindfulness activities while they're surrounded by others in the room? Thinking about how some students are home living in small apartments or trailers or just tight quarters, as many of us are doing right now. Would you have any thoughts or suggestions for that?
That's a great question. And one of the end slides is just kind of figuring out how to limit distractions. It's a hard one. I think giving the kids the tools any way you can, they will hopefully, the goal is use them in their lives when they need them. So even if there's chaos as we are all experiencing, just do the best you can. All of this is just about doing the best we can right now. So, and maybe getting everybody that's also in the room to do it. If there's, other siblings or parents, maybe they would be willing to sit down and do it as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like, is it possible to get everybody involved, or also just that constant reminder that there's no one right way? And I know you and I have had conversations about that sometimes we can feel like there's a limitation because there's one right way to do this mindfulness thing. And I think like giving ourselves permission, there's no perfect way to do it, and giving ourselves permission at that, and giving your students permission, like do the best you can with where you are. And I think that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm saying during these activities is stuff that I put together just based off of information and research that I've done over time. You can Google any of these things and find a million different ways to do it. So it's really just about finding something that feels comfortable for you to do so that you actually can teach it effectively, and just get kids to practice it, because these tools are great when kids are in a heightened state. They're also really great for anxiety, panic attacks, like dealing in the moment with kids that are really just in a fight or flight state and not able to calm themselves. And the key to it is having them practice ahead of time so that when they are in that state, they can use it and it's familiar, and it's much more effective that way than trying to teach it to them when they're not
In a heightened.
able to really take it in. Yeah. So it's just really about the tools and the practice and the message that everybody can do it. And I think that that's probably the most important thing, is just that it is really, it's attainable for everybody to be able to do mindfulness. You don't have to have mastered it to teach it.
And one of the questions that came in is age. Like, what do you recommend for younger kids? But being able to tighten, like do that little thing, like tighten your toes and let them go. And that last one is, I know, was an easy one for me to do with Morgan when she was little. And I imagine that you also done it with your boys.
Mm-hmm. Well, just it brings awareness to when, you're on the computer and your shoulders are coming up and all of a sudden you feel all this tension in your body, and maybe you wouldn't have noticed that otherwise if you're not just kind of aware of what it feels like to be tense, and then also what it feels like to relax.
Yeah. All right. Do we have another one?
Yeah, we have one more. This is belly breathing. So, again, find a comfortable position. If you are able to lay on your back, that is kind of a bonus, because then you can actually feel your belly extend a little bit better than if you're in a seat. But wherever you are, just go ahead and take a deep breath in, and place your hand on your belly, and just breathe normally, noticing how you're feeling. And on your next inhale, fill your lungs, but extend your belly outward, as though air was also filling your belly. Hold your breath for a count of 5, and then exhale for a count of 5, pushing all the air out of your lungs. Again, inhale for a count of 5, extending your belly as much as you can. Hold for 5, and then exhale your breath for 5. Again, inhale for 5, extending your belly. Hold for 5, and exhale for 5. Go ahead and do a few more rounds of these on your own. Now just take a moment to notice how you're feeling. So when we are babies, we create space for our breath by engaging our bellies. But as we age, we begin breathing more shallowly, which alone can induce feelings of stress. And this creates the positive feedback loop. Our shallow breathing induces feelings of stress, and when we are stressed, we breathe more shallowly. Belly breathing, also called diaphragmatic breathing, engages our parasympathetic nervous system, which then reduces the cortisol in our blood, and it induces the opposite of fight or flight, calming our body, and in turn, our minds. And deep breathing is an easy stress reliever that has numerous benefits for the body, including oxygenating the blood, which wakes up the brain, relaxing muscles, and quieting the minds. And breathing exercises are especially helpful because you can do them anywhere and they work quickly. So last thoughts. Mindfulness is obtainable for everyone. When teaching these skills, limit distractions to the extent possible. An important one to remember is that not everybody feels comfortable closing down their eyes for various reasons, and so these can all be done with your eyes open as well. And as I mentioned before, it's important to practice these skills, having them as a tool when you are in that heightened state. It's much more easy to use them if you have practiced them before. This is some of the science behind this, because there is really great science. It's all about the science.
And just so everybody knows, you'll get these slides, and so you'll be able to go to those links pretty easily. And so we do have lots of questions coming in.
Okay.
So is there any concern in doing these skills with children remotely, as everyone is in a hyper-vigilant state? And as you mentioned, many children are already in heightened emotional state due to trauma. I wonder if it wouldn't bring up something for them because they're in a vulnerable state. And so, do you feel like providing students or providing kiddos these skills right now could be helpful in the current situation?
Absolutely. I don't think there's any better time to do it. I have worked with anxious kids for a long time. And what I've realized is it's really, really helpful to have a way to engage your body to deal with anxiety and not always try and rationalize why you're feeling anxious. And of course, there's a time and a place for that to be able to develop coping skills and understanding and reflection and, restructuring your thoughts. But when you are anxious, you just need to be able to tap into something that creates this loop of reducing your anxiety. And if you're able to actually calm your mind using your body and engaging your parasympathetic nervous system, that's just amazing. And we don't spend enough time, in my opinion, in this part of the world thinking about how to integrate our mind and body. And it's incredibly, incredibly important and very, very effective, especially working with kids and kids with trauma histories.
Yeah, absolutely. And earlier when we were having our technical difficulties, I wanted to give a little bit of background about how Erica and I met, because the school that we worked at together for several years, the population there came from highly traumatic backgrounds and I watched Erica do use these techniques and tools with students and saw a huge difference. And so I know that it really helps tremendously. Here's another question. And this, Erica, is actually something before we went live, you and I were talking about with our own children. It says our biggest issue right now is our kids wanting to be on screens for longer periods of time than usual. They especially want video games, playthroughs on YouTube. They're literally endless. When we set limits, like even to say you can play or watch 1 hour and then it's outdoor playtime or schoolwork time or bedtime, our young children have had tantrums. We feel we need to allow different media or, of course, engage them in play and schoolwork and conversation. Any help is appreciated. And so there's a lot in there.
Yeah, no, technology is addictive. We all have experienced that, and we are definitely seeing it with our kids. And when we limit them, they go through withdrawals. And so we just have to get ahead of that as much as possible. It's really hard. My kids are watching. Hi, guys. Yeah. It's an ongoing fight, but it's so important. And turning off the internet is something that we do regularly. And then there's not really any reason to fight because, it's just not even there. And then they go outside for a little while anyway. But this is a new era, and we are using technology right now, and realizing how helpful it can be for many of us who don't use technology in our jobs, to still be able to connect with people. So yeah, there's a lot to it. I don't know. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, I think also having, once we start practicing these kinds of skills, the calming techniques, filling our children's toolboxes with things to do, when they're throwing a tantrum, they're having that very real emotion. And the more, we can help all of our kiddos and our students like identify, okay, I'm feeling this emotion. This is a very real emotion for me right now. And then I have a tool that I can work through. And, I think that's something that's why the practice of this on a regular basis, making it normal to breathe, normal to be in tune with what's going on in our bodies, normal to identify, okay, I'm feeling this thing. So I don't need to, okay, I lost control. Okay, that happened. Identifying that happened, not shaming that happened, and then getting to that place where, but I have these tools in my toolbox. And that conversation can start really young.
Absolutely. And when, we're constantly having this release of dopamine in our brain from
the technology
games and social media, and then we step away and we're having like some really like negative feelings, like you said, how do you identify those? What are the words for them? How do you calm yourself? What are your tools? And, by learning to calm our systems and teaching this to others, we're providing the best chance for life success that comes with like mental and physical health. So it's so important to be able to have a lot of tools to navigate our emotions, and the more the better.
Do you have any tips for students who have difficulties with attention or are resistant to engaging in some of these activities?
Well, this helps with attention, and you can make it as long or short as you want to. I think that, again, just practicing, in baby steps, like it's always just about getting kids to do a small part of it and then finding success in that so that they can build on it. So if you can get a kid to sit and just like take a moment and notice how they're feeling before they take off again, like, okay, cool. That's good. Next time you can have them sit, notice how they're feeling, and take a breath, and then just keep going. And then give them lots of props, because that's just super reinforcing for behavior.
It's scaffolding, just like we learn anything else. It's a skill set that we're learning, and it's not necessarily natural. And so until we normalize it and make it natural. Oh, that's this thing we do every time we sit down before dinner. We all have a couple calming, cleansing breaths, or right when I get up in the morning. Or I think that's super cool to remember that. And again, it's just that constant permission, like just giving yourself and anybody trying these permission to just enter it where you're the most comfortable. And then, and practice daily, and you'll get even more comfortable, and then that comfort zone will spread. So
a game first, like let's tighten our muscles and then let them go, and then see if you can find some calm around the practice later. But just even getting them to, notice what it feels like to engage a certain muscle group and then relax it is important.
Yes. And let's see, one more question. Do you have any recommendations to create a toolbox? How can you have these activities handy? So for parents and for teachers, what's a great way to just start their toolbox?
I think, do people use binders anymore? I don't know.
There's great apps too now, although we're just talking about the technology piece.
I did a lot of these kinds of activities, gathering a lot of information and the work that I did at City High. And I just had a binder of a lot of different activities, a lot of different tools. Some are going to work better for some kids than others. And so, just varying them and using different ones and seeing how it goes. And with your kids in their virtual classrooms right now, I think a bonus is that they all, are in their own space, so they can maybe clench up their face and not feel weird about it, or close their eyes and not feel weird about it. So, however you keep track of things, and just start to put a bunch of tools together in that toolbox, and then just see what works.
And people are asking, we'll make sure that you get some resources. Everybody will get this recording of the webinar with the slides, and also some other resources with some easy tools so that you can start adding to your toolboxes right away. Somebody asked, is this webinar only available to subscribed Character Strong, or can we share with families? Please share. This will go up. You'll get a link. And we absolutely want everybody to share these and do these. You could even use it as a guide, forward it to where Erica was doing one of the activities, and you as a family could do it together with her, or even with your classes, if that is more comfortable to even get started for you. And so, know that these are 100% available and free, and we do that on purpose. And we want everybody to be using these strategies that we know are really valuable. We are giving away, we're coming to the end of our webinar, and we're giving away 2 free live virtual training spots. That is going to Seth Berkowitz. You email info@characterstrong.com, and also Orfelina Cisneros. I am totally butchering your name, and I so apologize for that. But thank you for your questions and your comments, and our team has drawn you for free training spots for our virtual trainings with both John and Houston, which is pretty amazing. And Erica, I just thank you. I thank you so much for your time today, for your expertise, for your heart for this work. I thank everybody who's out there doing the really hard work. All teachers and parents, everybody right now. It's not easy times, and it's not easy times for anybody. And we just want you to know that we appreciate the hard work that you're doing. You're doing your best, and your best is good enough. And it's hard to not believe that sometimes when we think, oh, but I could be doing better, or I could be doing this differently. And just know that you're doing it, and everybody, your kids are appreciating it. Your students are appreciating it. Communities are appreciating it. And, so we thank you, and stay calm and practice your mindfulness. You can continue to kill it the way you are.
Absolutely. Thank you, Krista.
Thank you.
Character Strong is amazing, and I've known Krista for a long time, and there's no better person to spearhead this whole virtual movement and the supports for all of you at home. Like she said, doing such hard work, tending to your kids, your students' emotional well-being in order to be able to teach them is huge and so important. So thank you so much, Krista. Thank you to Character Strong.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful afternoon, everybody. Evening to those of you on the West or East Coast, or wherever you are. And thank you. Stay calm and character strong.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.